Chapter 10 to 11. Vegeta struck the first blow, his fist crashing into Goku's head and knocking him back. Goku recovered his senses and dodged to the left to avoid Vegeta's next attack, and swung his power pole at the back of his opponent's neck. Vegeta caught the weapon in mid-swing, twisting around to face Goku. He was not, however, aware of the pole's unique property, and was now holding it in front of his face. Power pole extend. Goku shouted, and it grew in length in an instant, the end crashing into Vegeta's face and causing him to let go, staggering away. Goku followed up with a kick to the side, which Vegeta batted away with an uncoordinated swing of his hand, only just avoiding another hit due to the pain in his face. Damn it, Kakarot, I'll crush you, just like Raditz. Your power is. He was interrupted as Goku moved to the attack again, fending off a volley of feet, fists, and strikes with the power pole. You're injured now, Vegeta. Goku answered, gritting his teeth in intense focus. One mistake and the prince's superior strength would give him the upper hand again. And you're slowing down. Looks like all of us working together is too much for you. And, he added in his mind, while I probably won't win in the long run, I don't have to. I just need to last long enough for Teen to gather energy for the spirit bomb. Vegeta broke away, flying around behind Goku, the renegade Saiyan turning to face him. The battle resumed, with Vegeta on the offensive now. After a few seconds of perfectly timed strikes and blocks, one of Vegeta's attacks got through Goku's guard, knocking the wind out of him. Vegeta grabbed Goku by the shoulders and started flying straight down towards the ground. Hey, Kakarot. Ever wanted to see the ocean floor up close? Only, without all that irritating water to soften the landing. He narrowed his eyes, using the force of his ki to push all the water for miles around out of his way, leaving the surrounding seafloor empty for several minutes. Damn it. Goku struggled in Vegeta's grip. This is gonna hurt. Nimbus. He yelled in desperation. Come on, get here in time. The fighters hurtled towards the floor, but mere meters from impact a golden cloud swooped by, carrying Goku off to the side. Vegeta, surprised by the sudden interference, tumbled head over heels through the air, and Goku took advantage of the distraction, appearing to his left and landing a devastating blow to Vegeta's stomach. The prince bent double, gasping for breath. Goku prepared to deliver the final blow, but discovered too late that Vegeta was only faking incapacitation, as the evil Saiyan stood up straight, blasting Goku at point-blank range with a quick two-handed energy blast. Goku flew away, eventually slowing himself to a halt. Well, that wasn't very nice, he said, smirking. I seriously hope you're being sarcastic. That would be a whole new level of stupidity, even for you, Vegeta growled. Shall we continue? Goku raised his power pole. Allow me. Vegeta leapt back into battle. Goku ducked straight under his lunge, slinging his pole on his back, and came back up behind Vegeta, who immediately turned to face him, lashing out with both hands. Goku twisted to the side, dodging between the punches, and raised his hands to his face. Solar flare. To his surprise, Vegeta carried on moving through the light, grabbed Goku by his shirt, and headbutted him in the middle of his face. Goku fell away, clutching at his face. You know, Vegeta gloated, it's almost as if I was listening in on a fight when you used that exact attack. And to work out I should close my eyes would require, average intelligence, you wouldn't know anything about that, of course. Goku hadn't quite recovered when Vegeta barreled into him, his fists, feet, elbows and knees finding their targets with cruel precision. Already injured as he was, Goku couldn't stand more than a minute or two under the onslaught, and soon his defenses dropped. Vegeta held up his limp body and rammed home a few more punches for good measure. Then he hurled Goku towards the shore with all his strength. Drowning's too good for you, after the shame you've caused me. I'll finish you later, slowly, and one piece at a time. He turned to the other still standing fighters. Teen was hovering with his hands in the air, a brilliant light surrounding his body, and Yamcha and Gohan floated in front of him, facing Vegeta in combat-ready stances. Completely out of the blue, Vegeta felt something, like a tingling in his mind. What? Did I? Yes, it must be starting to work. I knew I could replicate their ability to sense energy without a scouter, but I haven't mastered it at all, so for me to sense anything would require an... He stared at Teen, still glowing with energy. An enormous power. They were stalling for time. Damn it all. He shot forward at full speed, rocketing for the three fighters. Yamcha was first to intercept, but Vegeta flung him aside like a rag doll. Gohan was faster than expected. He dodged over Vegeta's first strike, and started furiously attacking. Stop hurting my daddy, he bawled, as Vegeta struggled to fend off a hurricane of tiny fists and feet. Finally, Gohan overreached an attack, and Vegeta slammed his knee into the child's gut, then smacked him out of the way. And now... He dashed over to Teen, holding his neck with one hand and crashing the other fist into the human's jaw, again and again, each strike punctuating a word. Never, never, never be beaten by a lesser being like you. His anger was reaching its peak, and he snarled like a rabid beast, holding Teen's barely conscious body. What will you do now? You can't launch your attack like that. Teen coughed, blood spraying into Vegeta's face. Just, ask yourself, why am I not glowing anymore? Time seemed to stop. Vegeta's face froze in horror, as he heard the movement behind him too late. He spun around, ready to lash out, but stopped in bewilderment, seeing another Teen behind him. This one held a blindingly white ball of energy in one hand, and was flying straight at him. Teen rammed the spirit bomb right into Vegeta's chest, and let go. The detonation blinded Teen, Gohan and Yamcha for a full 10 seconds. When they could see again, Vegeta was gone, and Teen had merged back into one person, somewhat less injured than the one Vegeta had beaten up, but still extremely tired and worn. Did we win? Yamcha asked, hesitating in case Vegeta came back for another round. I think so. Teen smiled. We did it, guys. Now, let's go pick up Goku and head home. Yamcha nodded. Come on, Gohan. Let's tell your dad we've won. Right. Gohan flew off towards where Goku had landed, on the shore to the west, touched down and ran up to him. Daddy! Daddy! Goku looked up, his face lighting up when he saw his son. Gohan, you're okay. And Teen and Yamcha, too. He added, noticing the humans following Gohan. I'm so proud of you, son. Father and son embraced, and for a moment, all seemed well. How did you get Yajirobe's sword, anyway? He asked. And where is it now? Well, right about when I decided to come back and help, Yajirobe came driving up. I guess he wanted to fight too. But as soon as he saw Vegeta as that monster, he turned right back around and left. I made him give me the sword, though, and when Yamcha hid Raditz somewhere safe, he left it there with. Ah, came the guttural cry from over to the right. Everyone looked around. Oh, no way. Yamcha shivered in fear. Over there, up the beach, don't tell me that's. Vegeta survived, Teen said grimly. I knew I should have spent more time practicing the spirit bomb. And of course, it hit him from the side, knocking him in this direction. He trudged over towards Vegeta, who was pulling himself up on his hands and knees. Yamcha followed Teen, telling Gohan, wait here with Goku, no matter what. Gohan nodded silently. The human warriors approached their defeated enemy, as he rolled to a sitting position, retrieving a remote control from inside his armor. Heh, still intact, guess the armor is good for something after all. He tapped a button, scowling when he saw Teen and Yamcha approaching. Stay back. Stay away from me. His attack pod streaked out of the sky, landing a few feet away, and he started crawling towards it. You've caused enough pain. Teen nodded. Yamcha, I don't have much energy left, can you? I got it. Yamcha raised a hand, a pulsing ball of energy forming in his palm. He prepared to fire it into Vegeta's skull. End of the road, Saiyan. Wait. Goku's voice was shaky, but strong enough to carry along the beach. Don't do it. Goku? Yamcha hesitated. You'd better have a damn good reason for this. Please, don't kill him. Goku remained determined. It's not right, not like this. To kill an enemy in battle, to defeat them when there's no other way, is one thing. To shoot them in the back as they flee in defeat, that makes you no better than Vegeta. I am sorry, Goku. Yamcha sniffed, raising his hand again as Vegeta reached the open door of his ship. I hate disagreeing with you, but he's killed so many people, I can't let him escape. Yamcha, Goku yelled. I'm a Saiyan too, remember? And despite that, I'd never kill an innocent person. He might not show it, but Raditz has changed too. If the most vicious race in the universe can show compassion, why can't humans? And who's to say he can't change too? Raditz was just like him when he came to Earth. Tears were rolling down Yamcha's face. He hated himself for arguing with his best friend, but he couldn't let go of his convictions, and his conscience stood on a knife edge. His hand wavered in the air. I don't know. Yamcha, if you kill that man, I will never forgive you. Nobody seemed to know where that had come from. Goku never got angry with his friends. His Saiyan side was showing itself. Yamcha collapsed, the mental strain overwhelming him. Everyone watched in silence as Vegeta pulled himself into his ship, the door closing behind him. You haven't seen the last of me, scum. He hissed through bruised lips and shattered teeth. The ship took off, and as it had almost left the atmosphere, Yamcha released his energy blast, just as a warning shot, and partially a stress reliever, but it cut a little close and grazed the side of Vegeta's ship, sending it spiraling off course as it shot off into space. Everyone relaxed, the threat to Earth finally ended. It's over. Teen sighed. Finally, it's over. Shortly afterwards, Yamcha, after retrieving Raditz from further inland and laying him with the others, went and told the group at Capsule Corp that the battle was finished, and shuffling his feet whenever he told them of a death, he recounted the events of the day. They flew over in Bulma's spacious hover truck, immediately charging out to see their friends and family. Chi-Chi learned that Gohan had been fighting, and there was much wailing and gnashing of teeth, and much leaping for cover. The injured were taken to the hospital, where the doctors agreed not to ask any questions and give them privacy when they were talking. I still can't get over both Krillin and Piccolo dying, Goku said the next morning. Everyone was gathered around the hospital beds where Goku and Raditz lay, having taken the worst beatings from Vegeta. It was the second time for Krillin, the poor man. Rashi added. And I'll miss the Dragon Balls, too. Without Piccolo and Kami to sustain them, they're useless, and that means all the people who died when they blew up that city are gone too. Idiots. Raditz's eyes opened for the first time in hours. Am I the only one who was paying attention to Vegeta and Nappa? Piccolo and Kami were members of a race called Namekians. Came the chorus from the rest of the room, and met with a wall of blank stares. Raditz groaned. Look, somewhere out there is a whole planet of beings with the ability to create Dragon Balls. He would have slapped his forehead in exasperation, but both his arms were heavily bandaged, and in fact it hurt to move just about any part of his body. If you really want to wish them back, just go to planet Namek and use the ones there. But, Launch, timid at the moment, scratched her head. How would we get all the way to outer space? I don't know. Raditz shut his eyes again. I've had my bright idea for the day, now I'm going back to sleep, if you don't mind. That's alright, you sleep now. Launch went to pat his shoulder, remembering just in time how painful the contact would be. Well, as it happens, Bulma said with a grin, holding up a remote control, I have an idea about that. Unfortunately, the remote control was a little damaged, and as the news report of the government team investigating Nappa's ship so helpfully showed, as soon as Bulma attempted to activate the ship, it set off the self-destruct, obliterating it. Everyone stared in shocked silence. Cheer up, all. A solution has presented itself. Someone appeared silhouetted in the doorway, a tall man smoking a cigarette and wearing a white lab coat, with blue-gray hair and a large mustache. Dad? What is it? Bulma asked as Dr. Brief entered the room. He smiled. Well, according to Raditz, Goku would have destroyed the ship he arrived on Earth in, correct? Scattered nods. Well, Master Roshi told me a story while you were all staying at Capsule Corp. Roshi told me an interesting story, told to him by Goku's adoptive grandfather Gohan. Huh? My grandpa? Goku looked over at Roshi and Dr. Brief. What did he tell you? Apparently, Dr. Brief continued, Gohan found Goku while out walking in the woods, and here's the bit Roshi told me almost without thinking, or realizing its significance, he found him in some sort of strange craft. It wasn't until after he'd taken the child home he learned of his nocturnal transformation. Then that means. Teen grinned. Goku's ship is still here, on Earth, Gohan must have found him before he ever transformed. We can use that to get to Namek. Indeed. Dr. Brief nodded. However, it's a small ship, it could only fit one of you, two at a stretch I suppose, and anyway, it sat there for years, hatch open, at the mercy of the elements. It's not ready anytime soon. I can solve both problems, repair and expand the thing, but unfortunately it'll take weeks, or even months. And Vegeta will be heading to Namek as soon as he's healed. Goku frowned. If we have to wait for months, he'll beat us there. There has to be a way of getting into space quicker. You need a spaceship, I hear? Came a polite voice from the window. Head swiveled to see Mr. Popo, hovering on his flying carpet just outside the window. I might be able to help. Vegeta awoke to blaring sirens. Warning, impact to hull has sent ship off course. Warning, set destination untenable, rerouting course for closest controlled world within new trajectory parameters, Frieza planet 325. ETA 3 days. The computer fell silent, and Vegeta tried to go back to sleep. It must have been that human's energy blast as he left. But it didn't matter. He'd get back to a Frieza-controlled world, and from there, to Namek. Alright everyone, strap yourselves in, we're here. Yamcha, Gohan and Teen scrambled for their seats as Bulma engaged the visual display. Planet Namek filled the screen, growing larger by the second. The ship shook as it passed through the atmosphere, swooped down over the ground, then touched down, less than gracefully. We made it, Yamcha said, grinning as he leapt out of his seat. Ignoring Bulma's warnings about the atmosphere, the gravity, and so on, they climbed down out of the ship and walked out onto the planet's surface. So, this is planet Namek, huh? Teen asked, gazing around at the blue-tinted vegetation and the small islands that dotted the planet, with no major landmasses like Earth's continents. I can't believe I'm actually standing on another planet. Yamcha stood next to Teen, Gohan slightly behind them and Bulma running to catch up. Well, I guess we'd better start right away. Bulma, you got the radar? Sure thing, she replied, smiling as she activated the small device. Bulma was still wearing a scouter, having taken several spares on the ship. Man, hunting for Dragon Balls, this brings back memories. She pressed the main button on the Dragon radar, and several blinking dots appeared. Hey, it works. Let's see, 4 of them are in one place, the other 3 scattered across the planet. We should, her scouter beeped, right as the others looked around, warned by their key senses. 2 humanoid creatures stood on a rock face above them. Yamcha stared at the newcomers. Those guys are wearing armor like the Saiyans. But Saiyans they're not, don't look Namekian either, Teen added. One had blue skin and small horns on his forehead, the other was purple-skinned and reptilian. Whoever they are, they've got weapons and armor, so let's just hope it's not us they're going to pick a fight with. One of the aliens laughed. You picked the wrong planet to land on, with pathetic power levels like that. Hey, Sway, let's give them a scare. Sounds good, the other replied. He raised his arm-mounted weapon, which fired a blue beam of energy that crashed into their ship, blowing a hole into one side and out the other. Our ship! Bulma shrieked. How are we gonna get home now? Hey! Yamcha flew up towards the aliens. Teen, Gohan, let me handle this. If you say so. Teen nodded. Yamcha scowled at the aliens. That was not smart. Start running or I break you in two. Shut him up. One of the aliens ordered the other. They raised their blasters and fired, the beams detonating violently on impact. Stupid tourist, should have at least tried to dodge. Yamcha, completely unharmed, appeared inches away from them. Shoot me again. Go on. See what happens. He flexed his muscles, and the aliens turned to run. Moving faster than their eyes could follow, he intercepted them, quick targeted blows knocking them unconscious. He jumped back down to the others, smiling with self-satisfaction. They'll be out for a day or so. Not bad, huh? Not bad, not bad. Bulma stomped up to him. Oh, here we go. The ship has a hole in it. We are stuck here, on this planet, with no way home. Why didn't you stop them before that happened, huh, Mr. Big Brave Warrior? They didn't seem like much of a threat at first. They had space guns. And so it went, for quite a while. Goku and Raditz, still recovering, often found themselves on their own for hours at a time, and as boredom set in the younger brother's case, this didn't take long. Goku started asking Raditz about the Saiyan race. What were they like? He asked first. It's hard to imagine a whole planet full of us. Raditz nodded. It was wonderful, while it lasted. A life of battle, of conquest, everything our kind lives for. The only downside, our victories were not ours alone. We served another, the tyrant, Frieza. Frieza? Who's that? Goku started paying more attention. What kind of hold did he have on us, to make an entire planet of warriors his servants? The only thing a Saiyan respects, power. Raditz frowned. Frieza is the most powerful being in the universe. Remember how Vegeta had to summon up all his energy and push himself to the limit to produce an attack with enough power to destroy the planet? Frieza could do that with the merest flick of a finger. There is no being alive that can defeat Frieza. Even if all of our armies had risen against him in unison, millions and millions of the galaxy's finest warriors, he could have killed them without any effort. That doesn't sound good. There's someone out there far more powerful than Vegeta. Right. Now you see how he so easily enslaved us. Vegeta was always talking about how he'd keep fighting and get stronger while Frieza sat around doing nothing, and one day Vegeta would become the strongest in the universe and defeat Frieza once and for all. He chuckled. Personally, I think he's crazy. I've never seen a being with even a tenth of Frieza's power. It's impossible. Don't say that. Goku sat up a little. Anything's possible, you just have to work hard for it. A year ago, I would have said it was impossible for us to get strong enough to fight Vegeta, but we won the battle. He had to run away. You're wrong. Raditz's face darkened. Frieza is completely unlike Vegeta. There is no fighting him. But Vegeta would always insist, one day, he'd do it. He'd become the Super Saiyan, and free us from the tyrant. Of course, since a meteor destroyed our home planet, there aren't many of us left to free, less since Nappa died. There's that phrase again. Goku raised an eyebrow. Super Saiyan. What is that? Raditz sighed. Well, according to legend, 1,000 years ago, on the original home planet of the Saiyans, a demigod emerged. A golden warrior, who could only control his power in his transformed state. But his anger, and his power, were too great to control, and he destroyed our home planet and himself. Some Saiyans escaped, to the planet Plant, which after we conquered it many centuries later, we named Vegeta after the warrior, who led us to victory, the father of the Vegeta you and I fought. Wow, and Vegeta thinks he can become this Super Saiyan? Would he be able to beat Frieza then? It's just an old story. It doesn't mean anything. Good night. Raditz rolled over and pretended to go to sleep. Well, it looks safe, Teen said, indicating the cave in front of them, and we'll need somewhere to sleep tonight, so come on in. Alright. I'll set up the capsule house and another scouter alert, and Bulma went pale. Guys, I think we should get inside right now. The four travelers scrambled into the cave, getting inside just in time to avoid a large group of assorted aliens which shot past through the air at incredible speed. That can't be good, Yamcha muttered, breathing out once they'd passed. I know what you mean. Teen wiped his forehead. Some of those guys must have been as strong as Vegeta. And that guy in the middle. Gohan was trembling. He was unbelievably strong. He made Vegeta look like nothing. I'm afraid the news just gets worse. Bulma indicated the dragon radar. Those guys have got the 4 Dragon Balls with them. What do we do? There's no way we can beat people like that. She trembled a little. We owe it to all the people the Saiyans killed, but how are we going to make our wish with these people around? We'll find a way. Teen nodded to Yamcha and Gohan. Let's follow them discreetly. Sorry, Bulma, but you can't move fast enough. I'll have a capsule house waiting in here for you guys, Bulma replied, starting to unpack her bag. You come back safe. Will do. Yamcha gave a thumbs up. Let's go, guys. The 3 of them took off, moving in a strange hopping semi-flight to suppress their power. The group they were following seemed to have stopped, there was that at least. Only a few minutes later, the 3 of them were lying in hiding on a ledge overlooking a Namekian village. But judging by the state of Gohan's temper, they weren't going to be in hiding for very long. The Namekians were being uncooperative and refusing to give Frieza their Dragon Ball, and the tyrant, in a typical display of his short temper, was having them killed one by one. Finally, when one of the 2 fleeing children was vaporized in mid-step, Gohan snapped. They killed him. He hissed, his whole body shaking. Calm down, Gohan. Teen put a hand on the child's shoulder. There's nothing we can do against guys like that. We'll just get ourselves killed too. Yamcha added. I don't care. Gohan leapt to his feet, rocketing down towards the village. I can't take it anymore. Oh, this is going to suck. Yamcha muttered, following him. Teen flew along wordlessly. The monstrous Dodoria, Frieza's number 2 henchman, stood over the Namekian child denned, one arm raised to crush the life from his target. Without warning, Gohan crashed into Dodoria, knocking him through the wall behind him. Yamcha kicked Dodoria away as he was about to get up, and Teen stood between them and the bewildered soldiers. Move, he urged. They won't take long to recover. As Yamcha and Gohan took off with the surviving Namekian child, Teen stood his ground to buy them time to escape. Dodoria. Frieza chimed in sweetly as Dodoria struggled to his feet. What's wrong with this picture? The pink-skinned brute scratched his head. Is that a trick question? Kill him and get after the others, you buffoon. Right, right. Dodoria leapt at Teen, who immediately tensed up. Kaioken ×2. The red aura flared, and Teen's foot collided with Dodoria's neck, sending waves of force rolling away. But Dodoria just smiled, unaffected, and elbowed Teen in the stomach, doubling him over. Gah! He choked, falling away. Dodoria took off after the others, and Teen caught his breath, giving chase and powering up to a Kaioken ×4. He's gaining on them, even if I can move faster than him, the others can't. He swooped over Dodoria's head, coming down between them and their pursuer. Guys, we can't outrun him. Get behind me and protect the Namek kid. Right. Yamcha stood in a combat-ready stance, Gohan at his side, Den trembling behind them. Teen gritted his teeth as Dodoria came to a halt in front of him. Back for more? Impressive stunt, hiding your power level like that, but in the end it's useless against me. Dodoria grinned maliciously, pounding his fists together in anticipation of the oncoming battle. Oh, this isn't hiding my power. Teen summoned up his strength. It's flat out increasing it. Having experienced using the Kaioken in battle, and then getting a few weeks to refine it, I've achieved a greater level of control, hopefully enough to sustain this. Kaioken ×5. He charged forwards as realization dawned on Dodoria's face. The pair disappeared in a blur of arms and legs, attacking and defending with expert technique and incredible force. Gohan and Yamcha were relegated to mere bystanders by the intensity of the battle. When they separated, Dodoria was battered and bruised, and Teen was almost uninjured, albeit clearly worn out from the effort of using what was becoming his signature technique. He smiled, preparing to deliver the final blows. You act tough, but it seems you can't deliver. He was interrupted as a green streak of light sent him flying down into the water below. Zarbon, the only soldier on Namek with higher standing than Dodoria, hovered next to his comrade, a smirk on his face. Is this the creature who gave you so much trouble, Dodoria? When I saw the speed he took off after you at, I knew he had enough power that my assistance might be required. I'd have pegged him at 20,000, perhaps a bit higher given that he almost beat you. I do wish we hadn't lost our scouters, but that old Namek had to go and be a hero. Well, with us together he shouldn't be much of a problem, Dodoria answered, so let's do this quickly. I imagine our glorious leader can't be too happy just watching the Dragon Balls. Zarbon rolled his eyes. And don't I know it? Hey, you. We were fighting. Is that still happening, or what? He scanned the water for signs of Teen. Where'd he get to? The lake under the two soldiers began to boil, then the water flew away in every direction, revealing Teen glowing red with his amplified power. This doesn't look good, he gritted his teeth, trying to stay focused under the immense strain of a 5 times increase. Just have to hope I can beat them before I wear myself out. He shot up at Frieza's minions, heading for Dodoria first. His kick got through his target's guard, smashing into Dodoria's face, but before he could turn to guard, Zarbon landed a dizzying punch to his head, following up by driving his other hand into Teen's stomach. Teen faced Zarbon, blocking the next 3 blows, but Dodoria grabbed him from behind, allowing Zarbon to rain attacks on Teen until he fell still, his aura flickering out. There! Zarbon folded his arms, smiling as Dodoria flung Teen away. That wasn't too difficult. And now to clean up. Yamcha caught Teen before he fell into the water below again, looking up to see Zarbon's hand raised, energy crackling around it as he prepared to fire. Wait. Hold on. Yamcha backed away slowly. You really don't want to shoot me? He gave his best innocent look, something being with Bulma had given him plenty of experience with. Oh, I really think I do. Zarbon grinned maliciously. I think I'll take your leg off first. I do love it when they scream. And now hold on. Yamcha became frantic. If you let us live, you can have a wish granted, anything you want. The stuff of childish fantasy. After a leg, maybe an ear, then I'll start removing your fingers. No, really. He turned to the others. Gohan, Namek kid, back me up on this. It's the Dragon Balls, that's why Frieza's after them. Yeah, they can grant any one wish. Gohan nodded. Zarbon slowly lowered his hand, lost in thought. That would make sense, that's how he intends to become immortal, any wish, you say. Yeah, and we know how to activate them, Frieza doesn't. This was pretty much a lie, activating the Dragon Balls wasn't difficult, at least on Earth. Dodoria tensed up. Zarbon, you can't possibly be thinking of betraying Lord Frieza. Oh, of course not, Dodoria, Zarbon answered, then as his comrade relaxed his guard, casually reached up and snapped his neck. Dodoria's body made a dull wet noise as it hit the ground from almost a mile up. There. Zarbon turned back to Yamcha, and there was a hunger in his eyes. I will let you all live, for now. You will attempt to secure at least one of the Dragon Balls. I will aid Frieza in collecting the other 6. Then, I will create a distraction. I have something fittingly grandiose in mind and we will meet, and then I will have my wish. I know you won't betray me, because if you do I will kill you. If I can't find you, I will destroy the planet and you on it. So you will hold to this. But they'll work it out, right? Gohan asked. They'll see your friend died, and won't it seem weird that you beat us all on your own? First, Dodoria was no friend of mine. And second, I assure you that my real power would make short work of all of you at once. Now, if you'll excuse me. He soared off, back towards the village. Finally, he thought, I will be free of my curse, having to rely on that monstrous form for power. Never again will I need to tarnish my divine beauty. And if all goes to plan, Frieza won't be around to interfere.
If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/kaishin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my Patreon. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Nicholas Berenger, Ben Phillips, Yamatancho, Taco TSK, Yuki, Search 1301. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be here until next time.